one senator had the courage to stand up and speak out, and that man, God bless him, is now the Vice President of the United States. He was the only one.
J.D. Vance was the only one?
The only one. Absolutely. And I will forever be in his debt, because he took the destruction of Christ's children seriously enough to raise it, and he was outraged that our government was allowing it. He didn't even go so far. I don't think he understood that we were, in fact, funding and supporting it.
You're I think it's fair to say, broadest terms, a Jewish liberal from the Bronx who was arrested by Putin. How did you wind up representing the Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine? Why was that important? Of all the cases you could take, why that one?
Well, let's be clear. It's the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. We are not part of the ROC. We share only a canonical link. Our church denounced the invasion. Our church separated itself administratively 30 years ago. And every Ukrainian that's Orthodox has been baptized in our church. 5 years ago, a new church was established in Ukraine by the Poroshenko administration with the active connivance of the United States government. The State Department of the United States was involved in the establishment of the church. I believe either USAID or some other organizations have funded this state church called the OCU. This is basically kind of a CIA operation, if you will, to set up a church that would be completely free of what they viewed as the dangerous Putin influence. So you have our State Department violating our Constitution openly, engaging in the destruction of religious freedom in a foreign country, doing things absolutely illegal under our Constitution, all in
like establishing religion.
Yes, all in the name of anti-Putin activities. And because I am so very strongly against the present Russian administration, I insisted on traveling to Kiev with a bunch of my lawyers to interview. We were privileged to meet with the Holy Synod, to meet with senior members of the church, interview priests, interview lawyers, so I could fully accept the mandate to fight for a church that was being driven out of existence. This is something that's not supposed to happen in the 21st century. And as a Jew who feels strongly about freedoms for my Christian brothers and sisters, as somebody who feels that religious freedom is the foundation of all our freedoms.
Yes.
And I believe that to the center of my being. I could not believe that the American government, a government for which I signed up for the draft on my birthday when I was 18, when we were still in Vietnam, this government could be funding the destruction of this church. So we've studied it. We've met with people who were at high levels of the U.S. government who confirmed for me that this was a U.S. government operation. And we have done everything we can. And we have walked into a wall of Ukrainian propaganda inside Washington. I want to be very clear. I just finished speaking at a religious freedom conference. It was a religious freedom conference that in many ways was managed by the Ukrainian government. It was Ukraine
in Washington,
Washington, D.C. My team was barely afforded an allowance to go in. We were not allowed in a year ago. This time we were allowed in. They wouldn't take our money.
You're defending a church against a dictator, but you're not allowed to appear at a religious freedom conference.
That's correct.
Okay.
And this time, when I went to the religious freedom conference, I was only allowed. They stacked the panel I was on with a priest from the other church, and they gave me basically 5 minutes to present my views, which were that, in fact, this other church, which, by the way, has stolen 1,500 of our churches, engaged in mobilizing—
Stolen the buildings?
The buildings. Yes.
Stolen them?
Stolen them, outright stolen them. And worse, beaten our priests, beaten our parishioners. And I have this all on video. If you go to SaveTheUOC.com, you will see the videos of our parishioners being beaten. These are the elderly parents of people at the front fighting for the liberation and protection of Ukraine, being beaten very often by SBU, that's their secret police, wearing death masks with Nazi insignias on their arm. And let me be very clear to you that you will never hear elsewhere. There is a massive right-wing movement in Ukraine that has tremendous influence. Our newspapers were warning of this in the late teens, and once the war started, we never heard anything else. It's as if all these neo-Nazis disappeared. They haven't disappeared. They're part of the Ukrainian government. But you're never allowed to say that, because if you say anything like that, you are told that you are a Putinist. And Kasparov has summed it up. He's basically said, if you criticize Zelensky in any way, you're a Putinist. So the fact that he's destroyed civil society, he's destroyed a free media, he jails or sanctions or charges with treason his opponents, we're supposed to ignore all of that, because if we mention it, or if I stand on a soapbox to scream that he's jailing and torturing priests, we are somehow disentitled to speak. We have this crazy adopted authoritarianism now where we as a country of institutions have made a king out of Zelensky. We have allowed him to destroy every Ukrainian institution out there that's independent, and we've turned him into a king or demigod.
When we started this show, we were looking for a very specific sponsor. We wanted to find a company that could send us good meat, better than anything you could buy in a grocery store that didn't have a lot of weird hormones in it or chemicals, just good meat from the United States. And we found one, and we are proud to partner with them. They're called Merriweather Farms, and they produce all-natural beef, and we are proud to be in business with them. We eat it. Our viewers have been buying it and loving it. We've got all kinds of positive reviews. Again, this is a sponsor we're proud to have. So Merriweather Farms is out with a new product. In addition to the steaks that we have almost every night here and the burgers all shipped directly to your house, they have a new line of snacks, including single-serve beef sticks, one of which is right here on the table. Unlike store-bought alternatives, which you can buy at convenience stores, these are made in the United States in Wyoming at their facility, and they're free of nitrates, MSG, mystery meat, and other weird stuff you don't want in your mouth. Like all the products that Merriweather Farms makes, they are made fresh. They've got simple ingredients, all of which you can pronounce and recognize, and they're delicious and good for you. If you use our special promo code TCN10 at checkout, they're about $1.50 a piece. It's a perfect on-the-go protein boost if you need one, or if you've got kids or sports or want something to keep in your car or truck. Super easy and good for you. Check out Merriweather Farms today. You will taste the difference. It's, again, better than anything you can buy at the grocery store, and it comes right to your house. Go to merriweatherfarms.com/Tucker and use the promo code TCN10 for a discount. That's Merriweather Farms, MERIWETHER, farms.com/Tucker.
And I will tell you that one of the instruments that was being used to attack me, for instance, was FARA.
The Foreign Agent Registration Act.
That's right. A journalist in the Washington Post who we offered to interview all sorts of beaten priests instead focused on me, tried to make it sound like I was in Putin's pay and somehow violated FARA, when I knew very well I had an exemption because I represent the church. It's been crazy. I've gone into meetings. Firstly, almost all Democrats, but a few, including Dick Durbin, who gave us a very respectful hearing. Almost all Democrats wouldn't meet with us, which really shocks me because I've been a lawyer for 45 years. I generally get meetings when I need them. None. Republicans, on the other hand, often their staff at least were willing to meet with us. One senator had the courage to stand up and speak out. And that man, God bless him, is now the vice president of the United States. He was the only one.
J.D. Vance was the only one?
The only one. Absolutely. And I will forever be in his debt because he took the destruction of Christ's children seriously enough to raise it. And he was outraged that our government was allowing it. He didn't even go so far. I don't think he understood that we were in fact funding and supporting it. And there is a guy in the Ukrainian government, a Mr. Zelensky, not Zelensky, Zelensky, who's been in charge of the destruction of this church for years. His lifeblood is to destroy this church. He helps, I'm sure he directs the SBU to jail these priests I work with. Guess who?
Zelensky?
Zelensky with a Y. And he's written some very interesting books. I don't want to get into that.
What about what?
Just nothing, everything you can think of against religious freedom. He has written about when it was the Soviet Union.
Really?
Well, he wrote a book about Zionism and clericalism. This is the guy that is heading up their department of religion, essentially, and freedom. This guy was honored and given an honored position at the Religious Freedom Conference in Washington.
Wait, the persecutor of the Orthodox Church was given a position of prominence at a religious freedom conference.
You have that right.
What conference was? I mean, this
is the one that was in Washington, a huge conference that went right before the prayer breakfast in Washington.
Did anyone say anything other than you?
No, because nobody. The only thing they were worried about, I got a call.
What about all the Christians?
They're silent. I got a call.
Why is it left to you? I mean, this is the point where I feel like pulling my hair out.
Well, I tell you.
Why is this your job?
Well, and let me tell you.
What about Mike Johnson and all these other Christians in the Congress are always talking about how Christian they are?
Well, I can tell you that because of the smear, and we understand that the Ukrainians gave a $3.6 million contract to a PR firm in Washington to go after my church and me. So I've had vicious letters written about me all over the place, talking about me as a Russian agent. We have had
you who were arrested by Putin.
Yeah. We have the Hudson Institute, reputable institute, hosting an event, taking the Ukrainian line. We wanted to get a voice. It was about religion in Ukraine. We weren't allowed to join
the Hudson Institute.
We weren't allowed to join the Hudson Institute because I think the Ukrainian propaganda machine are indirectly sponsoring these things. And what they're doing is they're running shows and movies about Russian activities, anti-evangelical activities in the Donbass, which I believe are happening and which I completely support. You know, there is no one who more than me who will support evangelicals or anyone else who are being oppressed. But to sponsor this type of activity and not mention our church is a scandal. To avoid mentioning the majority church of Ukrainians and never say a word about Law 3894 that destroys our church. We will not have a church in 6 months.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.